Hi, everyone, and welcome to A Higher Perspective. Today, I want to dive into the subject of geopolitical events, particularly in the US. And I'd like to focus on three topics. One, what's going on with the polarity that we've been experiencing for quite a while, and for many of us are still experiencing. Secondly, what are the energetic principles behind what's going on globally, and where are we headed with this? And third, what can you do about it to stay more balanced and more informed so that you can enhance your life? So I want to start by talking about how we got here. When we go through a transformation, which the planet is going through right now, we're moving towards a higher level of consciousness. And as a result of that, we learn as human beings through contrast, the contrast of love and fear, unity and separation. And we learn through looking at one or the other side of this polarity. And that's precisely what we've been doing. As you know, for a long time in history, the masculine paradigm of hierarchy, structure, foundation building, control is been the dominant paradigm. And then for the last 50 years, particularly 40, we've had a lot of other voices coming in and saying, hey, let's move that paradigm. So more voices are considered in decision making, and so that more people are seen, heard, and understood and valued in their differences. And there's been this kind of tug of war. This part of the paradigm is primarily masculine because it was built actually, the marketplace and the dynamics in society were actually built by the forefathers, not the foremothers, and in business by the titans of industry, who were all men. And so the way that our society has been created has been through this model that is most comfortable for masculine energy. That is the way that the masculine energy feels safe, and also feels that they can help everyone feel safe if everyone would just comply with the rules that were created, the rules of engagement that were created when this paradigm was put together. Well, maybe with a few band-aids, there's some legal things that say no sexual harassment, or they say equal pay for equal work, no matter who you are, or they talk about some inclusion. But essentially, what we're trying to do is band-aid a paradigm that came in for thousands of years. And that is a paradigm that if you're sitting in it and you have some power and it works for you, it's a story that makes you feel safe. Then as the clock moves, as we move forward in evolution, that paradigm will fall apart. It must, because all paradigms that we decide that we're comfortable in are the status quo. And when it's time for the status quo to evolve, that will feel very uncomfortable for those who are advantaged in it. So what's happening is that the anger has created this hold on for dear life that says, hey, this is safety. This is a story about safety and security. If you do it this way and follow what we say, it will be better. And we'll make exceptions, but really we need to stay here. At the same time, when others have been getting more and more powerful in their voices, they're starting to get angry that they're not seen, heard, and understood in that paradigm. They're not honored in it. And so there's anger trying to pull the walls off that paradigm in the status quo so that this new paradigm can emerge that is more inclusive and more collective. And it is distinctly more feminine in its nature, because the feminine energy is meant to connect and to include and to bring meaning and meaningful relationships to the process of what's happening, while the masculine holds it in place with some very strong boundaries and accountability. Although you won't see that in some of our politics, accountability is distinctly masculine, whereas the feminine flows and moves, right? So what we've done is we've had a lot of people say, let's include these new voices and tear down the walls that have been exclusive to this standing paradigm, and let's make this new. So you've had anger to hold on, and there's certain people that have personality and preferences that are meant to help us to hold steady a status quo so that we can feel safe whenever we create one, so that we can have it sustain. And then there's those whose style and preference are meant to innovate and to bring in things that are not native to that paradigm. And so the anger has been on both sides, but both sides are telling the same story. The paradigm that says, let's include everyone and collaborate differently. And by the way, technology is helping us fuel that movement. that when we do that, that's a paradigm in which everyone there feels safe. This is the narrative that says I'm safe and secure if I can be seen, heard, understood, if my voice is valued, if my ideas are brought to the table and I'm in the decision-making process. Whereas these folks say, well, you were never in that decision-making process. That's not safe. You don't maybe share our values. And so that's not safe. So both sides are telling stories about what makes them feel safe. So what's in the middle here is to recognize that both sides are doing the same thing in the spirit of moving the evolution of the planet, if evolutionizing it, right? Moving it in its evolution towards a different paradigm that actually has characteristics of both sides. But what's in between can be compassion. If we understand that both sides are saying, I feel safe this way, I feel safe this way, we're not going to feel safe in another paradigm than our own, but we can at least acknowledge that that's what makes another person feel safe. Now we have the same conversation because we have the same value of safety and security and what we think the world is going to be better served to continue to engage, right? So from an energetic perspective, the needle has been moved a little like water on rock over time, and particularly with the feminine energy. And technology is feminine because it connects people anywhere, anytime, any way they want to. And it gives individuals the power to create their own worlds, whether it's a business, an augmented reality, or we have AI now, all of those things are giving power. They're democratizing information, and they're democratizing the ability for each individual to live into a reality that they create, which is moving us towards unity, right? The ultimate way we're going in 2025, getting to our next topic here, is why is all of this happening? Because in 2025, the energy on the planet is shifting in order to support this combined paradigm. We can't just go all about the feminine. We did that really in the dot-com era when we talked about, here's technology, just let anybody that has an idea do this, and it crashed because there was no foundation, no frameworks and structures, no experience, and something that could bring some other kinds of elements and intelligences to the new ideas. So it's got to be this integration of the masculine and the feminine, honoring where we've been with the masculine at all times, being able to say, let's stand on the shoulders of that, let's honor it. And then from that foundation, let's expand, let's include different elements, and let's create a paradigm that's more inclusive, because that new paradigm in 2025 is absolutely about that every person feels that they can connect to their inner wisdom and their purpose. And from there, they can create what they want in the world and contribute that with joy, because joy happens when joy is a currency. It's a vibrational frequency. And when you contribute out of your purpose, there's a joy connected to that currency. It's a high currency, right? When we talk about the lower currencies, those are hatred and anger and violence. Those sort of things or hatred and violence and even sadness and suffering. Those are very low vibrating emotions. And that you can look this up in lots of books in Power versus Force, and talks about these frequencies of emotions. And what we really are looking at right now and what's happening in the current moment as the energy rises is that all the work that has been done by all of us who have been breaking glass ceilings or helping conscious cultures happen in business, or even in our organizations where we have brought more people in and more voices and appreciated what has happened as a result. All of those actions have created a foundation so that someone like Kamala Harris can come along and be seen, heard, understood, and appreciated for expressing a style that's called joyful warrior. Again, the word joy is a very high frequency, and it's never been connected to politics before on the world stage, especially through a woman and a woman of color. So this is a paradigm that's possible now because of the work that's been done to date. She didn't show up as the hero. She showed up at a time when all of the work had been done so that she could be seen in her power, so that we could celebrate it and we could see ourselves in it. And then the joy comes back and that currency flows. So that's what's happening right now. And that's why there's so much excitement around her candidacy to be the most powerful person in the world and in ruling a country. And all she says is we. This is not a woman, you'll hear say I, because that is the other paradigm. I'm at the top, I will take care of you, don't ask questions, don't worry about it, I've got it. This paradigm is I can't do it, I don't have all the answers, we have to do it together. And that is absolutely where we're headed on the world paradigm, the world stage, and it's happening in different countries at different times. So like any system, any dynamic system, it shakes and shakes and shakes until a critical mass of energy is created through the thoughts, feelings, intentions, and actions of each person, and that then allows for that foundation to be built so that we can then bring more solutions, more creative possibilities to where there's gaps or issues and challenges in society. That's where that's where we're headed. Now, what can you do? Well, it's a particularly dynamic time right now. And you, from a mystic's perspective, you have chosen to come here at this particular time because you have something to contribute that no other person on the planet at any other time does. That's why it's so important to tune into who you are, not just from the standpoint of appreciating yourself as a unique being. Never mind that you're not like anyone else or that you're marginalized. If you feel that way, then you are simply a pioneer who has the opportunity to begin crafting a map of reality and a track that through which others can join and also follow. So you can be a map maker, you can be a chart maker, charting the way. So instead of feeling there's something wrong with being not like others, you can say, well, that's because I'm here because I can contribute what I have in a different way than's ever been possible before. And by the way, there's brain evolution in every generation. And the children that are coming onto the planet now, who are our future leaders, are often pathologized and spoken about as though they're something we have to close the gap on what's sort of wrong with them to get them to be more like what we consider to be safe. Another paradigm that says you're not safe unless you look like this, feel like this, or are like us. And in fact, many of those children will become the leaders that are absolutely necessary in the way that their giftedness allows them to think about things in intensely brilliant ways and can address things like climate change with a creativity we can't even imagine. So it's time for us to recognize that the entire planet is going to a higher level of consciousness. These children are here to help us. The paradigms in business that are moving into conscious business, conscious leadership, conscious evolution, and what's happening on the political scene, all of it is moving in the same direction. All of it is meant to help each person understand their purpose and then collectively help each other bring that to the table and then bring a richer outcome when they're combined, right? So what you can do is honor yourself for your gifts, go into what you feel most excited and joyful about, and continue to explore those avenues, because they will bring you to other people who enjoy the same things. They may bring you to perspectives that may help you to see, I really want to find joy in contributing this way and in exploring it this way for myself. I hope that's been helpful in helping you find the You Are Here button on the map of reality that we're working at a global level and perhaps personally for you. And I hope that if you enjoy and want to hear more about higher perspectives, please subscribe and you'll be notified of the next video coming out. And also, please put any suggestions you have for topics there in the chat. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.